just for everyone, so everyone knows, we're joined here by Daniel Cherny, regular at the Age, one of their leading footy writers now, and part of the Four Horsemen podcast, which is well worth a listen if you haven't had a try yet. Thanks for joining us to do this Wimbledon preview, Daniel.
No, not a problem. A pleasure to be here.
We'll start with the Aussies. Nick Kyrgios obviously had that hip problem pre-tournament. Do you reckon this will affect him, or do you reckon he can go through the pain and win the tournament?
Oh, I mean, I think it's hard to say whether it'll affect him. I mean, it's obviously not an ideal preparation to have that beforehand. It's been a patchy year from him. Obviously, he's a supremely talented player at his best, but sort of up and down form. Got in a bit of a hot streak there for a while, but yeah, having the injury at probably an inopportune time. And even if he isn't affected, I mean, it's still to say that he'd win if he's not affected is a big stretch. Having not made it past the quarterfinals before, obviously, you know, on his day, he's a very, very good player and has shown that this year. He's beaten most of the best players, but whether he can, after an injury interrupted, lead up to get through best of 5 matches against some of the best players in the world. I mean, the draw will be interesting, as we know. So it's hard to say. You hope for the tournament's sake that he gets through the early rounds and can at least make sort of the fourth round to make things a bit interesting, because he is such a, you know, he's a divisive player, but he's incredibly compelling to watch, and he's a very, very good player in his day. So I think you hope he does. His fitness holds up.
Yeah, he's obviously he's someone who draws people through the gates, and he's going to bring great viewership ratings, especially down here. But good also to see Kokkinakis back on the court. He was sort of one that always excited me when we talked about the three of them, Kyrgios, Tomic and Kokkinakis, and obviously he's battled injury for a couple of years. So to pick up a big scalp in the lead up to Wimbledon was exciting for him. Hopefully he can have a bit of a tournament as well.
Yeah, no, it was a good win in the lead up, and as you mentioned, I think it was the 2015 tournament at the Australian Open where he beat Ernest Gulbis, I think it was, and a great best of 5. I think it was a 5-setter early in the tournament, and has shown glimpses here and there. But yeah, really, so long now, crawled by injury. He's almost the forgotten man of Australian tennis. But to sort of find a bit of form before Wimbledon, I mean, you know, it's hard to get really excited about a guy who has missed so much tennis and coming into a best of 5-set tournament. You know, for all his talent, he is unproven. He's largely unproven still. But you just, again, and the draw will be important. Obviously unseeded, so he's going to be potentially up against it, and really at the mercy of the draw. But you know, you hope again that he can get at least a couple of best of 5 matches into him and continue to build. And look, as we know, he has shown, even if only fleetingly, that he on his day is another very good player. And it's just, I think it was as I mentioned, that 2015 Australian Open where there were, I think there were 11 Australian men or women that made it through to the second round. And at that point, it seemed as though Australian tennis was really headed into if not a golden era again, a new, fresh era of having depth of competitive players. But it just hasn't really turned out that way. I mean, you've had moments here and there with a few runs, and Sam Stosur continuing to, certainly the French Open continuing to be a presence, but for various reasons, and obviously Dasher's had a good run, Ash Barty, etc. But
yeah, it's funny how we sort of always feel like we're on the verge of a golden generation, and it was something I was going to talk about as well, because obviously young Australian Alexei Popyrin won the French Open Juniors last week, or a couple of weeks ago now, and considered one of the big Grand Slams to win as a junior and has decided to go pro. And you had Alex de Minaur, who at 18 was a Wimbledon runner-up last year. And you sort of feel like we've got a couple of good young juniors there to pair with, obviously, the three guys that are all still under 24 and top sort of 30 to 50 potential players. It'd be great looking back to the days when Hewitt, Rafter and Philippoussis were all contending at the same time.
Yeah, no, they were gold. They were great days indeed. And I think even at that period, people sort of probably longed for the days of the 70s and days of Newcomb and Laver and Rosewall. But
back in the semi-finals of Davis Cup though, so.
Definitely. They made four finals in a row of the Davis Cup, in 2003, and in the end back to the semis of the Davis Cup. So they are on the right track. I'm always a little bit reluctant to read too much into junior form because just in sort of in my tennis viewing lifetime alone, I think the one that really I'll never forget is Todd Reid won Wimbledon in 2002. Junior Wimbledon and really never amounted to much for various reasons. Bryden Klein's career after he won the Australian, now representing Great Britain, but after he won the Australian Open Juniors, I think 2007 or so, never
came
on.
Yeah, we've had a few of them, haven't we?
Yeah, even Oliver Anderson, etc. So no, there are a few. There have been a few. Demonow really did show a bit. At the Australian Open, so he is one to watch, I think, and they do speak quite highly of him.
Yeah, won a 5-setter first round. I think I was there to see a bit of that.
And Popierin, who I don't know that much about. Obviously, he's won the French Open, so clearly has some talent, and that's not even a junior level, not been a Grand Slam that Australians have fared very well at. So. Having another decent clay court never goes astray. It
would be nice to bring some interest back to the French Open for us, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it would. To her credit, and Sam Stosur gets a lot of flack, but she was remarkably consistent at the French Open and that's not something that people really talk about. Sam Stosur in terms of consistency. Everyone obviously remembers when she won the US Open and then various. And just so many flops at the Australian Open of the Cherny.
No, she's been a contender every year. You come around to Wimbledon, she's a good chance to make a semi-final or a final or be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, the French Open particularly. The problem has been that she's just and obviously not playing this year. In fact, I saw her the other day. It was just last week. I was doing an interview at Collingwood Football Club, and she was just wandering into the cafe. Must be getting some physio there or something. But she has at Wimbledon never really amounted to much, but at the French she's been a very consistent performer, making the final and a few other semis. So to her credit, she has actually probably given Australians more at the French Open than just about any other local player in a long time.
Yeah, and just quickly before we move on to the wider men's and women's draw, Jordan Thompson had a really good win over Andy Murray at Queen's Club. He's had a few good wins this year. What do you reckon his chances are of making a bit of a run at Wimbledon?
Yeah, he's another that sort of shows glimpses here and there. We've had a few of them over the last few years. James Duckworth occasionally got going, and Sam Groth had a long, had one particularly good year, but hasn't really kicked on.
John Patrick Smith lost 12-10 overnight in qualifying. I think he won a couple of matches at Wimbledon last year, actually.
Yeah, JP Smith's got his moments there, and even John Millman.
Johnny Millman's back playing in the draw this year.
Yeah, so as for Thompson, it's a great win. Obviously, a great win. So you can't really go into a tournament like Wimbledon with a better scalp and beating one of the best grass court players in the world at the main lead-up tournament. But having said that he's still at the mercy of the draw, and whether he could back it up. If you played Murray tomorrow in a best of 5-set match at Wimbledon, he'd still back Murray in. But you go in with confidence, and I suppose with a guy like that, you sort of just hope that they can float. It'll be one of those years where maybe Kyrgios makes a really good run, and then a few others, like someone like Thompson, could win a couple of rounds.
Make a third round. If we could get a couple past the second round, it'd always be nice.
Yeah, I reckon they get 3 or 4 in the third round, that'd be a great result.
Oh, it'd be huge. Just for an update for those who missed overnight, Andrew Whittington qualified as well. He 2 sets to love down, faced a couple of match points in a third set tiebreaker, and came back to win in 5. So first Wimbledon for him. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, no, he's another one that. I don't know off the top of my head how many Aussies they'll then have in the main draw, but it would have to be. You guys might.
Yeah, that's 6. Gives us 6 for the men's with Millman and Thompson in there as well, and then we've got obviously the 3 in the ladies with Dasha,
Gavrilova,
and Ash Barty,
Ash
who had the
Barty,
good lead in as well. And we've got 2 more girls in the final round of the qualifying who'll play later tonight. So Rodi and Nova could still get through, and there's a 17-year-old Destiny Ava who knocked off a seeded player in the qualifying last night, 2-1.
Well, that'd be great. I mean, that'd be great if she made it through, because she's obviously, I'm a bit worried there was so much hype around her at the Australian Open that at times you think,
Poor girl.
It's a lot of pressure, but clearly has, at least at junior level, has a lot of talent. And she's got the physique for it, and really a very exciting player. So if she can make that, that'd be great. Just even if she can make the main draw, that would just build their experience and in terms of moving on in her career, that would be a big boon. So it'd be great to see her through. And Rory Nova's floats under the radar a bit, but continues to sort of have a pesky quality to her. So it's good to have good to get her in there too.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing with such a wide open draw on the women's side. Obviously, I sort of had a look, and since the turn of the century, you've had Serena's won 7 Wimbledons, Venus has won 5. They've lost another 5 finals between them, and you just sort of think, wow, it's open to anyone. As we saw in the French, where
Yelena Ostapenko won it.
Yeah, qualifier came from nowhere to win it. You couldn't rule it out again.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were, I'm not sure who said it recently, but with Ostapenko, the French. I suppose the one thing to say about the French is the one where if you get relative unknowns to win, it generally happens at the French, because the clay is the most different of the 4 surfaces, and the sort of the one that sort of the greatest variance from the results of the other 4. But having said all that, if you'd thrown it, if you picked 40 names out of the hat to win if you picked 40 names to win the French Open, you might have had Yelena Ostapenko as one of them. So it was a huge upset, and great for tennis, great when you get those sort of results. After, especially in the men's, but also in the women's with Serena's dominance. And don't get me wrong, Serena's a legend, and it's been great to have her up top for so long. But
yeah, she has dominated. That's what happens when you have maybe one of the greatest to do it of all time. Is they do tend to dominate the game a bit, and she, in the last 5 years especially, she hasn't quite had that big rival that perhaps the men have had, and that she had before that with the likes of Hingis and Justine Henin and Kim Clijsters and whatnot.
Well, and Venus for a few years there as well. I mean, Venus obviously made the Australian Open final this year, which is great. But I think the thing about Serena is she's been pretty fit for the last 5 years. She's had sort of in the previous. This really has been the peak of her career at a very late stage in her career. I mean, she'd always, the first of probably 10 to 15, 10 main years of her career, when she was fit and firing and everything was ready, she generally backed her in. But there were a few more players that were more. There were probably a few, and she also had some more fitness, and then obviously her sister got, her sister tragically died, so other family issues and things like that. But you're right. It hasn't been a female player other than Serena to really lay down the gauntlet. You know, you just had these world number ones like Wozniacki and Kerber that just have not been able to.
Elena Jankovic, Anna Ivanovic.
Let's go a bit back. Yeah, those two are good examples, and even Muguruza's a very good player, particularly on clay, but hasn't quite delivered as some may have hoped. So it is so wide open.
Petra Kvitova was the one who, having won a couple of Wimbledons now, you thought she might make the grass court her own, but that was, her first one was back in 2011, so that's been a while back now.
Well, she has obviously had the terrible incident with the intruder at her house.
Oh, horrific.
Horrible.
It's sort of, it's probably the closest thing we've had, which brings back memories of
Monica
Seles struck down in her prime. But you're right. As a dual Wimbledon champion, she's probably the one most likely, and has found won the event last week. So she has found some form at the right time. That would be, if she were to
just make a run, would be a fairy tale story, wouldn't it?
Win it would be a fairy tale. It would be great. So you hope she has a good run. There have been a few other women to sort of win a couple of Azarenka, won a couple of the Australian Opens, but never really consolidated herself from there. It is open, and you ask most esteemed judges, and then they really not their wits end, but it is a bit of guesswork, and that's what makes it captivating, especially after dominance of Serena, and probably especially in contrast to the men, even more so, especially in contrast to the men's draw, where, don't get me wrong, we've been blessed to have Federer and Nadal, Murray and Djokovic, and then the handful of support cast guys around them this era, but it has, and the rivalries between those guys, there's been the shifting dynamics of those rivalries of the big four have been, and a few of the other guys have been interesting enough, easily interesting enough, but this is a different. But when you turn up to a Grand Slam, when you go and watch a Grand Slam tournament, really for more than a decade now, you're almost certain that it's only going to be one of a handful of guys who can win it. But whereas probably in the decade before that, it was a little bit more open. You probably had up to 15 guys who maybe were half a chance. In the women's, it's really, really wide open, so it is a nice contrast to the men's. But don't get me wrong, I'm salivating about the men's tournament, especially with Federer refreshed.
Yeah, hard not to get excited about the prospect of. I think a lot of us are dreaming of another Federer and Nadal, even just a clash. Wouldn't have to be a final. If we could see them meet in another Grand Slam and on the grass would be something else, especially with the form Fed's in. That lead-up win in the final at Halle over Zverev was that was peak. That was Australian Open form. He was straight back to it.
Well, he had a bit of time off during the clay court season, obviously missing the French Open, which I think was a clever tactical move. And he has not missed it, but not just with standing. People remember the Australian Open, obviously, because of such a landmark win and his first in 5 years. And really, you hope it doesn't happen. But if he went down with a career-ending injury tomorrow in the first round, it would be enough, because he got that final in the Australian Open so his his win span is 14 years, and he's shown that he's just almost secured that the record now. You probably can't see Nadal, even despite his excellence, overhauling him. But obviously you hope that doesn't happen, and his form this year has been excellent just about wherever he's gone when he has played. He's the best player in the world, probably. As amazing as it is to say it, at whatever he's 35, he's the best player in the world. So, and he's playing on a surface where he is dominated, and it's the one surface where he's consistently, a couple of the loss last year, and Djokovic has just got him a couple of epics, but.
Yeah, tied with Sampras and a couple of others on 7 wins. I think he'd be he would love to get an 8th there and take it as the all-time Wimbledon leader, because that's just been his tournament.
Yeah, and that was always... It's funny because he won the Australian, but it was Wimbledon where he was always... A lot of people probably said, he might have won his last one in 2012. That may well have been it, especially having gone so close to that epic against Djokovic in 2014, and then the injuries last year where he came in this year, Australian was the 17th seed. But the one event where people thought, well, he might still be a bit of a chance is Wimbledon, where he can keep the points shorter and control, and really can control the tempo, and his strengths really do come to the fore. But then he won the Australian as almost a bonus, so he's got to be just about favourite. As amazing as that is.
Yeah, and just on another note, if Federer and Nadal do happen to meet in the same side of the draw, do you see anybody else making an impact at Wimbledon? So, like the likes of Djokovic, Murray obviously will be there, but their form has been inconsistent to say the least. Stan Wawrinka's got better on grass, but he still hasn't really made a real impact at Wimbledon. And you had Milos Raonic, who was a finalist last year as well. Do you see anybody from any other side of the draw making an impact, Daniel?
Might have just...
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I've still
just
got you.
lost you there. Got you back.
Sorry about that. All the guys that you generally... those guys you mentioned is the ones you would generally look for. Wawrinka himself is looking for the career Grand Slam, which is
it flies under the radar, doesn't it?
That is remarkable.
It does. But he's been he has been the fifth Beatle, a nice addition to the he's very much now in that conversation as his Grand Slam tally isn't that far off. Does he want as many as Murray? Or there must be.
Well, he's won 3. Murray, I think's won 4. I think he's won 4 or 5.
So he's very close.
Right there with him.
He really does deserve to be in that
conversation.
That was consistent for the previous decade, but
we really are looking for someone to break the Big Four stranglehold, because Wimbledon is the tournament where between the 4 of them, they've won 14 straight.
It's amazing when you put it that way. It's just, the last one was Leighton Hewitt.
Leighton Hewitt, it's the last.
Leighton Hewitt, and then you go back to Goran Ivanovic and then the Sampras. I mean, really, there have not been very few players have won Wimbledon. Krajicek got through I'm now going a long way back to more than 20 years. Break in between.
You might have a year or two on us there, I reckon, Daniel.
Yeah.
I'm a bit older than you guys, but but that's sort of taking back most of my lifetime. In terms of Kyrgios is one that always, and has shown on grass that he's a very capable player. So he's probably the one. He's right up there in terms of the guys that could take that next step. Obviously, Zverev Zverev's one. I mean, he's a very talented player, and is seen as that next as the next generation guy. Grigor Dimitrov has shown bits and pieces here and there. Obviously, the Australian Open made a terrific run.
He's got the game for it, never had the consistency. I've always waited on Grigor, thought he would be the one to jump out. Sort of, you've had that next group of them that sat there for so long. Even Nishikori now can't quite break in. And Grigor's games, that backhand he's got is up there with Wawrinka and Fed.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, he was dubbed Baby Fed. So it was a Grand Slam for a guy named Baby Fed. So he is, and from there, you really start delving pretty deep. Nishikori has generally been consistent without taking the next and made the final of the US in 2014. But other than that, and then obviously the older guys that have floated around like Tsonga, who's gone okay.
Oh, yeah. Joe Wilfred, Gasquet, those boys.
And Monfils and...
Marin Cilic,
even Marin Cilic. So...
It's going to be a huge story. If someone really outside of we call it the Big Five even, if someone from outside of there goes on to win it, it will be...
Look, if anyone, I mean, if you look what is it, last 2000 since 2003
3 or so?
six.
6?
Well, 2003, yeah, but I think probably you still had a couple, you know, Roddick and Safin and a few guys like that break through for a couple.
I miss the Parrot.
Yeah, but probably 2006. Everyone, there's some ridiculous stat between the 4 of them, or if you include Wawrinka, the 5 of them. Apart from who else has won a slam?
Del Potro and Cilic.
Yeah, Del Potro and Cilic.
I mean, that's it.
Might be 42 or 44. I think we're close to.
I think you're right. I think that's it. And even if you exclude Wawrinka and Murray, it's still 35 or 44.
Because what a Fed 17, Nadal 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny. It's funny you say that. You can't imagine Nadal catching him, and definitely at 17, 13 after the French, before the French. But if something were to happen and Nadal carried over his form and pinched another one, well, all of a sudden, 17, 15, you'd fancy he's got another French in him next year.
Maybe even another 2 here and there.
Things could really tighten up there.
Yeah, no, they could, and it probably makes it this year's Australian Open final even more telling in that if Nadal had won that, then there's only one between them, and then the conversation really has changed because as you say, as long as Nadal's fit, he probably wins the French Open 90% of the time, and we've seen that 90% of the time he wins the French Open. He's got to be a chance. Wimbledon's never been his strongest slam, but then again, he's still won it twice and has been
beaten Fed there, yeah.
He's been one of the few guys who have beaten Federer there, and has been a pretty good player on the surface. So he's there, and then Djokovic is the mystery because he just fallen off the cliff to an extent. But
off the court dramas seems to have really just rocked him, hasn't it?
Yeah, really have. It seems. But again, having said all that, he's also a player who has a very, very good record at Wimbledon. So if there's a place for it to all look for him, you've got 4 outstanding grass court players, and even Nadal's not renowned as an outstanding grass court player, but the big 4 have all gone pretty well. Obviously, they've all won at least once, so that they've all shown they're capable. They've all been perennial semi-finalists, and no one would be surprised if it was those 4 there in the last 4. I don't think it will because you generally get one to sneak through, but no one would be surprised if those 4 are there.
All right, finally, Daniel. If you were to pick a winner from both sides of a draw, who would you be backing at Wimbledon?
Oh boy, the women's is a really, really tough one. But
pick a name out of a hat.
Probably being a bit of the romanticism here, but I'd love to see Kvitova. I think Kvitova has as good a chance as just about anyone, and I think she's got the form, and to add to the fairy tale factor, and it's been sort of a fairy tale 18 months in sport, so why not see it continue? And in the men's, I think it'll be Federer. I think it'll be Federer. I mean, Federer could do it about as straightforward. It's almost as straightforward as you get.
But it's still a big call. So.
But it's hard to tell. But
it would be great to see. Be great to see. Mick, yourself?
I actually think Jelena Ostapenko can continue her form. I think that her big hitting game can suit the grass as well in the women's. As for the men's, I think Federer will get up as well. I mean, it's hard to back against him. The form he showed at Halle. But it'll be interesting to see who can break through as well. So we'll see how things go.
Yeah, there could be a big breakthrough on either side, and here's touch wood, it's an Aussie who makes a giant killing run. But I'll back in. I actually think Venus has got one more run in her. After the form she showed at the Australian, knowing that her sister's out, I think she'd love to pinch one more Grand Slam, and Wimbledon's always been pretty kind to her. And I might take Djokovic to bounce back on the men's side of the draw. always. I think he'd.
Venus would, I was going to say Venus would be great. Venus would be a great story. I'm a huge rep for Venus over the years. I think she's been through. Serena's been through a bit, but she's been through a lot. Venus and what, she's 37. I mean, amazing.
Yeah, it's phenomenal the some of the tennis careers we've had for these elder statesmen of the game. That Serena and Venus have continued at the top for so long, and now with Fed and Nadal right there, well into their 30s too.
Yeah, terrific.
Too good. Thanks so much for joining us, Daniel. It's been a pleasure having you on board for this Wimbledon preview, and I wish you many a sleepless night in the coming fortnight.
You too, guys. No, always a pleasure, Michael. I really watching both of you guys closely on Twitter and enjoy your work. So look forward to seeing plenty more of you in the future.
Thanks, Daniel.
Good on you guys.